All right, hi everybody. Welcome to Quill and Sword. Oh, you're good, Robin. We were chatting, we were having a grand old time. You may notice some changes to the layout. This was requested so that everybody can keep track of whose character is whose. So it looks like everybody's in the right place, which is a great start to everything, personally. I'm very pleased. Yes, so much. Oh my gosh, I'm just excited to see everybody in the chat. I'm not even going to lie. But anyway, welcome to Quill and Sword. We are a bunch of writer friends who play D&D together. Yeah, if y'all want to introduce yourselves and recap what happened last time, that would be great. So I'm going to roll the D4 of fate. I can't believe I'm using a D4 because we're all here for once. Oh my gosh. We have 3. That's Nathaniel.
Nim, and because Nim's tactic was to act drunk and sing "What Do You Do with a Drunken Sailor?" And
hang on.
Oh,
they're not hearing you.
Oh,
yeah, you were muted. However, I just fixed it. I figured out what was wrong. I need to double check. Sorry about that. We have to have our technical difficulties. We just have to.
We got it out of the way. We're good now.
I didn't press anything, so that was not my fault.
No, it was my fault.
Okay. Shall I start again?
Sure.
Okay, why not? So, the session before the previous one, Wisp had gone missing, and the rest of the party had gone on the hunt looking for them. So, they realized that Wisp was unconscious and had been brought aboard a boat. And an attempt to infiltrate it, our 2 changelings, Nim and Masquerade, had used their abilities to blend in and appear as members of the crew. Anu had to be a little bit more sneaky. Mask was better at blending in than Nim, who did not know anything about boats and just acted drunk and sang "What Do You Do with a Drunken Sailor?" to blend in as much as possible as they went about attempting to find Wisp and possibly the reason as to why their fond friend was kidnapped. And why don't we hand it off to SENITA?
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I just blanked. Okay, so while Nim and Mask were smoozing up top, I decided to do what Anu does best and sneak into the beneath to go find Wisp. And oh boy, did I find Wisp.
You did indeed.
Along with finding Wisp, we found a whole bunch of other people encased in some crystallites. We had stumbled upon a prophecy, and it turns out one of our own is the beautiful chosen one. And I think we were the only ones down there, weren't we?
Yep, at the time.
And I'm going to pass it off to Nim.
Yeah, so from there, we executed a perfect fawn heist and were able to get off the boat during dinner time by stealing one of the lifeboats. We did get caught, but we were able to get away, basically, and hit the shore. And then once we hit the shore, we ran into like a highway robbery sort of situation, a carriage jacking, if you will. And we had a bit of a fight there, and the carriage left without us because we really just saved them to get a ride, but we didn't get a ride back to the castle. So, and I think that might be where we ended. Robin, do you remember anything else after that?
Well, I think you guys more or less covered. I just watched this episode before we got into this. I do know
That's why I'm asking,
that right
'cause you
now
remember.
Mask is disguised as a cabin boy and wearing cabin boy clothes, which means I am stuck a child until I get back and get my change of clothes from my room at the keep. So this is gonna be fun.
Actually, you do get your clothes. You can just change your shape and all of that.
Okay, cool. Well, in that case, yeah, I'm gonna change into the bigger pirate clothes. I'll like go behind a bush or something and come back out like just Mask, like the face that you've seen Mask wearing, the hair in a messy low ponytail and like piratey clothes.
And we did kind of gloss over this. I have a feeling it's probably going to be important. So there was an attempt to do this sort of turn Wisp into diamond crystal thing, and no one else survives this, but Wisp did, which marks Wisp out as a form of chosen one, which Wisp is incredibly pissed about. Wisp hates this idea so much, to the point that the fawn got very stabby with the woman who did it, and it was a fraught conversation that ended in bloody gurgles.
Mm-hmm. And Wisp did also get a premonition that Giselle is in danger, as pointed out by Just Carowin in our chat. Thank you, Just Carowin. So
that one's important because that's probably going to be where we're headed from here. So yes, good job remembering what we don't.
Right?
Yep.
We're only the ones who did it. Why should we have to remember?
Right. And real quick, before we play the intro, shout out to Syrinscape. We love them. We do sounds with them, music, etc. It's great. So, we're going to jump into this mess, which is, in fact, a mess, as we continue our campaign with Quill and Sword. And welcome back. I definitely didn't just run to grab water. I am not out of shape.
None of us are.
know
What are you
that-
talking about?
Right. You know that some of these things I'm saying are lies because I'm the GM. What I do. But anyway, so we are going to open up. You guys actually rested during the daytime, and you found a safe spot to camp in this woodsy area. And I believe that all of you had mentioned that you were planning on heading back to the castle, which is north. So, yeah, we will just pick up at the campsite. Would you guys rather have already had your long rest, or did you want to chat around the fireside first?
I ain't in a chatty mood.
Yeah, let's chat.
Oh.
I heard a rumor. That Wisp got a new title.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
And I'm like over here casting Find Familiar while I'm like doing this.
Yes, you know, rumors are nasty things. Maybe best not to spread them.
So spake the chosen one.
Yes, let's talk about the crystallization.
I'm looking dead into the campfire. I am not meeting your eyes right now.
I'll put that away until you're in a better mood. Eventually, I'll have you laughing about it. But what's this about crystals? I missed all that. And I've drawn my little circle in the dirt with a stick.
So, whoever that witchy, warlocky, whatever she was, woman, whatever she did to me, which I survived for reasons we're not going to get into right now, was apparently something that she had been doing for a very long time that resulted in people. I don't know if it was being completely transformed into a crystalline form or if being encased in it. Either way, generally a fatal procedure. Something that I got the distinct sense she's been doing for a while.
And this person died before we left, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they did.
That's good.
Do not have to ever talk about that.
Not that part, anyway.
So, Masquerade,
Mhm.
as part of your things that you managed to pick up, right, while you were being a cabin boy and different things, you did manage to find a tome that seemed to have been stolen and was currently being smuggled or perhaps stolen out of smuggled goods. And so you do, in fact, already have your needed spell book.
Oh, that's good. Like, I've got it, like, propped up against a tree while I'm drawing my dirt circle. I have not explained what I'm doing at all.
Okay.
I haven't noticed. I'm in too much of a funk. So,
I'm eating snacks.
I'm just looking around and kind of worried about everybody and trying to like make everybody emotionally okay, but it doesn't go very well. So it's just me saying things like, well, isn't this nice? We're just, around a fire and having a chat and everybody's doing what they're doing. What is everyone doing, everyone?
Well, I have a question. And, like, Wisp, I realize you're probably not going to want to talk about this, but I feel like it's kind of important. Unless, like, it's really not important. But, like, how did you know there was something going on at the castle?
I saw it and I felt it, but it's not as if I closed my eyes and had a vision. I had a sense, and it was a sense that came strongly enough that I felt like I could see it.
Okay. Fair enough.
And before you ask, no, that hasn't happened before. No, this is not typical. No, I don't want to talk about it.
I figured if it had, and that were relevant, you'd have mentioned it.
Good.
So, you guys are currently just sitting around the fire. I would like for Wisp and anyone who is currently trained in Arcana to give me a perception check.
Okay.
$16.
Okay. 16. Anyone else?
Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty
hang on.
mysterious.
12.
Okay. So, Wisp, you feel warm. You feel a tingle in the air. It's so much like when you pluck magic to do your casting. And it's in the air. It's kind of everywhere. You feel almost like, much like how if there's a fire, you can tell where the heat's coming from. You can tell that there is a source of great magic somewhere in the general area.
So, everybody, I'm getting a general sensation there's something close to us that is giving me a very, very strong magical vibe. I don't know if it is a person, creature, or object, and I don't know exactly where it is, but it's relatively close. And we may want to be on some form of guard for that.
I'm summoning a fae. Is there any chance it's that?
Would I have been able to recognize that distinct from this that I'm sensing?
You're not sure.
Possibly, but that this feels stronger than I would think that is. So I don't think that's it.
That is unfortunate. I am going to be most put out if I have to start over. Okay, just let me know if I need to punch things.
Masquerade, please describe what you were doing specifically and how it manifests.
So, like I said, I drew my little circle in the dirt with a stick and did like all the little signs and stuff, and every once in a while I have to like stop and like put my hand out so that the breeze doesn't like smudge the sigils and things. But like when I finish, ideally there will be a barn owl that like comes down from the tree and like, you know, lands on my outstretched arm, and it's like the usual colors that a barn owl would be, except with like purple instead of brown in some places.
As you do that, you feel this anticipation, as though you as a player may know the feeling of when you are just about to go over the hill of a roller coaster. It's like you're on a precipice, and then you plunge. And when you plunge, as you finish summoning your owl, you feel this intense surge from somewhere else that almost comes through you into the earth. And as it does, the rest of you will see briefly all of the shadows in the area reverse to light. And with a strobing white, black, blue flash, your owl appears. And it has 5 temporary hit points.
Hey, buddy, did I fuck up? Like, just scratching the feathers. All right, then. That didn't feel right. Or maybe it did. I've never done this before. I don't actually know, but it felt like something else happened somewhere else, and if I did fuck up, I'm sorry.
The owl just kind of looks at you and twists its head much further than I can twist mine.
Oh, owls.
It just kind of like hops over to you and then peck a little bit. And then it like hops up to where your knee is and peck. And then just kind of test to see how far you'll let it go.
It's just pretty far. Like, Mask is getting a kick out of this. We'll share food.
Okay. After about 5 minutes, it's on your shoulder and it just kind of lives there right now.
Nim is very curious about this and wants to ask Mask several questions. So Mask, is this your owl now? Do we have a friend?
We do have a friend.
What is your owl's name? Do you know? Have you spoken yet?
Well, no, I don't know if we talked that way or not. I just did this, and I haven't really figured everything out yet.
Well, if you need help naming the owl, if the owl doesn't have a name, I'm always available. Just, give me a hoot or a holler. I don't know. I'm sorry. But just let me know. I'm here to help. I like owls, too. They're a little bit terrifying, but also if they're your friends, they're not so scary.
Steve, out of curiosity, how... I know we took up resident in the bandit camp. How far away from the road are we? How likely is it that somebody could be in the woods in the surrounding area, somebody or something, and we wouldn't be able to see them in the dark?
It's interesting because this topography is sort of like craggy forest. And so you are actually in this sort of premier spot that's like a little cove of trees of sorts, and there's a rock at your back so that no one is going to be able to see you unless they're right up on you, which is not incredibly likely. And in turn, you aren't going to see them unless they kind of just show up and happen upon you.
Okay. All right.
It's maybe 30 feet off the road.
Okay.
Yep, and you guys
I haven't gotten any more sense of anything around us since that initial sort of thing.
You just you hear bugs, you hear the sounds of summer, you smell rain. You feel that the air is cooling from its previously warm summer. It is currently just coming up on evening because you guys slept most of the day. So the question would be, I guess, do you guys want to continue sleeping through the night or do you want to continue on? The power source does not seem to be coming towards you, but it's still there.
Do we feel safe traveling this? This is me asking the group. Do we feel comfortable traveling at night, or do we want to wait for the daylight?
Well, personally, I'm all right with whatever you guys want to do. I'm all right with traveling in the dark, as it were.
Same. If we're all fully rested, we can get the show on the road.
I can't help but shake the general feeling that lingering is not in anybody's best interest.
Either we go to it or it comes to us.
Sure. Nim, you're awfully quiet.
Oh, well, I this is way out of my depth, I'll be honest. I'm still thinking about, I was on a boat, and I broke a really important crystal, I suppose. And you're we're not talking about you,
No,
but there's an owl here now, and there's a presence that you're sensing, and I think that it is in the best interest of the group if I take a moment and I do not make any decisions, because everything just feels quite higgledy-piggledy at the moment, but I do trust everyone here, except for Anu if there is a chandelier present, but we are in the forest, so everything is safe. So, I defer to everyone else. You just tell me what to do, because there are things happening, and I should have stayed at the orphanage, honestly.
So Anu.
Yes.
What do you think? Stay or go?
Oh, go. Yeah.
Okay. Start picking things up.
Let's do that. And once we hit the road, if we are lacking other light sources, I'll just do some dancing lights to follow us.
Okay.
Even did the book that I got come with like the book bondage stuff that like old people who like used to carry their books had, like the leather straps at the hip.
Book bondage.
Yes, the book bondage thing.
Well,
If it did, I would like to put it with like the necromantic tome that we picked up previously, and just like have those books there.
I mean, everything about that screams warlock to me, but yes, you can carry the book fairly easily. It is actually spell books generally are designed sort of like a 3-ring binder, where you can add things to it and take things out as needed. So that way, as you come across new magical spells or whatever, you can just add things to it.
Awesome.
So, yeah, yours is actually fairly sparse right now. It's only got stuff for what seems to be first level plus several blank pages.
I am talking about like that one that we picked up on the pirate ship, and then the one that was in the underground when we rescued the queen.
Ah, okay. So the one that you picked up in the pirate ship is the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The one that you found when you rescued the queen appeared to be less of somebody's personal spell book and more of a textbook. It does
like
contain
a reference
spells.
material.
Yeah, you could
But
take them out of it.
copying stuff over takes time and resources, and I haven't had the time to do it yet, so I just want to kind of like tether them together with like book bondage equipment and carry them at my hip.
You can certainly do that.
Okay.
Strain those books.
Yes.
Tell them they've been bad.
I think that's more Wisp's venue, but...
I don't think I need to tell them. I'm pretty sure they already know.
Probably.
You're dog-eared, aren't you? Bad.
So you guys are seeing the first speckles of stars appearing in the orange-purple sky. The night's twilight has come once again as you guys got your long rest, so hit that on D&D Beyond if you need to. You've got all your spells, got all your hit points, all the good stuff.
Woo! If that be the case, I'm going to take a moment to cast Mage Armor.
Okay.
I did
Definitely.
That
How does that look for you?
Just like sort of a shimmer over top of what I'm already wearing. Like you could barely tell it's there. It just catches the light every now and then.
Oh, interesting. I like that description. So, yeah. You guys, do you travel on the main road or do you travel through the forest?
I'd be inclined to just stick to the road. I would think speed to the destination would be in our best interest, unless I get massive objections from anybody else.
No, I'm fine with this. I don't know how to travel in the woods.
I'm good.
Okay. So then last question, just to make sure I'm clear. Are you going toward the power source or toward the palace?
God damn it.
Well, okay. Suggestion. If the power source is closer, we do know that somebody took Giselle, who is quite a potent power source. We don't know what direction they went in. If we pass and go to the palace, we might well just be passing her up.
And also, honestly, it would be very strange if whoever took her is still at the palace with her. Okay, so I guess power source would be better.
The power source.
All right. So I need whoever wants to make a survival check.
I got a +2 survival.
Can I use the help action?
How do you intend to help?
Well, I'm going to ask the owl, who I'm like calling Stardust in my head, and we'll see if that sticks, to like do a flyby and like point things out to Anu that she might miss otherwise.
Okay.
I got a 17 for survival.
17. You Robin, go ahead and roll your D20 real quick.
Okay.
Roll. You can add animal handling if you want to.
I nat 20'd.
Okay, so Wisp, you definitely have advantage, and your crit range is expanded. And you've already crit for something, but we'll wait on that.
Okay. So are we just proceeding on then for now?
Well, roll another survival check and see if you get a very high number on the die.
No, same roll as before.
So what is that total?
I rolled a 16, and I have a +1 to survival, so it's effectively a 17.
Okay, so you do actually critically succeed. Your crit range was expanded by 4.
Okay.
Because Robin critted. So, the owl... Yeah, that's one of my weird homebrew rules I do. I'll expand a crit range if somebody does something that's especially cool and crits at it.
That's interesting. I like that.
So, the owl, who is tentatively named Stardust, is kind of flapping along for a while, and then they'll sort of flit to the ground and peck, peck, peck. And then they'll flit around more and peck, peck, peck. And they are looking pointedly at Wisp.
I'll take a couple of steps towards where the owl is to see what kind of reaction I get before I move any closer than that.
It's an extremely tame owl.
Okay, I'm just trying to get I'm not afraid that it's going to attack me. I'm just trying to get a sense of whether or not me moving to where it is what it wants.
It seems to be. You do also notice an uncanny awareness in its eyes. Almost like it's self-aware.
Okay, so I'll move to what it has settled on.
And you find, buried in the dirt, a ring.
Don't suppose this is one of any of the rings that we've seen before.
No, it is not.
Ooh.
This ring looks to be, it has these little gems inset within it, and you, being trained in Arcana, would know that these gemstones are, in fact, mana.
What color are they?
Blue. All of them are blue.
Ooh, I'm keeping this.
Okay. You have a ring of spell storing.
I'm not putting it on yet, but I am pocketing it.
Okay, you have a ring of spell storing.
Ring of spell storing. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. And then, because you crit on your survival check, you start to notice, as you're walking along, that there are signs of elves, but not recent. Specifically, you're seeing, broken shards of archways that could easily have been mistaken for broken tree stumps because they're made of wood. And, but they are in fact carved a little bit, and you see these intricate knotting patterns through them. Anytime you find one of these broken pieces of an archway. And they lead you to a path that is almost completely overgrown. You can continue toward the power source, or you can see what this diverging pathway leads to. Both seem to be going in generally the same direction.
So, I'm going to pause and relay all of this to the others, because I want to try and get a group consensus on this.
Okay. So, I don't think looking into this would take us too far afield of where we're already going. But I don't know where everyone else's head is at.
It sounded like there was going to be more.
Nope, that's all I've got.
I've just got a feeling. And I know that's not really anything scientific to go off of. I don't have any evidence or
you
whatnot.
do realize we're headed in this direction at all, basically for that reason, but for me. So,
Okay, well, you know what? As long as we've got like the hunch in the same direction, I don't see why not keep going.
so keep going straight, not diverge.
Diverge to what? I've clearly missed something.
So there's a sense of there have been elves here relatively recent. I don't think they're like there now, but they were here not long ago.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's something we want to look into or just keep going as we were.
There's an awkward pause, and Mask looks at Anu. As if you have answers.
Do you think I know every elf?
Well,
By their
no,
tracks?
but, like, you've got a better chance of knowing why elves would be here than I do.
Anu, I'm just going to give this to you because of you are a wood elf, and wood elves actually travel between locations, but they travel between locations that are sort of like set up to be cities. At one time in the very distant past, elves had thriving cities. They're now all in ruins, and they are full of traps. However, wood elves tend to take broken archway pieces or remnants of markers and will lay them about to indicate safe passages as well as to indicate places of interest.
So there's markers of safe passage and places of interest.
Well, do we think that this is a place for safe passage or just an interesting place? What are our feelings telling us? That's what we're following today. What are our feelings saying? My feelings are saying I'm confused.
My feelings are slightly embarrassed, if I'm being honest.
So is there a way to tell if it's just safe passage or if it's an interesting place? Like I have to roll something for it?
Sure, roll investigation.
Dice don't fail me now.
That's when they fail the most.
Right? Yeah, shit.
Well, everyone does start with inspiration as well.
I got a 13.
13. It's not a difficult roll to make. You can tell, based on the type of wood that these archways are made out of, and more specifically because of the knotted patterns, that this means safe passage, secure passage.
Okay.
So I forgot that we could roll on D&D
All right.
Beyond. I'm going to close my
Well-
other roller and use that now.
This is a safe passageway to go this way, to travel in between places.
Okay. So probably not something we need to investigate now, but might be good to know if we need to make a quick exit from where we are headed.
Good plan.
Right?
Noted.
So
Okay.
you guys continue on the standard path?
I would say yes.
All right. I need everyone's passive perception scores.
12.
12.
Passive perception.
Unless
16.
anyone... Okay.
13?
10.
Anu. As you guys are walking along the path, you notice that as you go towards this power source, this forked off path that goes toward the power source seems to be more overgrown than other pathways, as though it's not walked regularly. You start seeing stone statues, or rather remnants of ruined stone statues, including columns. Occasionally, underneath the dirt, if you kick it just a little bit, you'll see carved white stone beneath your feet. And you notice that one of the carved white stones seems to have a very clear outline that seems as though this stone might be loose or otherwise might be separated somehow from whatever else is normally connected to it.
I want to check out the stone.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
I'm using my inspiration.
Okay.
You bitch. Oh, great, you're hidden. It's the same thing. I got the same thing. I'm not using this dice anymore. It's a 5.
A 5. Okay. You can tell that the stone is some sort of trigger.
Now, is this a safe trigger or is this a bad trigger? Okay, who has a good investigation?
I am proficient in that one. I am proficient in that one. I've got +3.
Go for it.
Have it roll that for me. Yes, I can. Oh, 5. I'm gonna use that point of inspiration that I have.
Okay.
It doesn't like inspiration checks. There
16.
it is.
That's much better.
16. Okay. Mask. You can determine that this is, as you approach, you feel almost like when you reach out towards an area of intense static electricity. Your hair on your arms stands on end. The hair on the back of your neck stands on end. And you feel just a little bit of a rush of magic.
Yes, something here has been accumulating power, and I hypothesize that if we trigger it, it's going to let that power loose, and I'm not sure we want to be on the receiving end of it, to be honest.
You do notice, too, that about 20 feet up, the pathway starts becoming even more overgrown.
I don't think this is going to get better.
How confident am I in this direction, Stephen?
In this direction, I mean, it is definitely going towards the power source.
Okay.
Gonna send Stardust on ahead for a flyby just to like get a visual on what's up there.
Okay.
I believe that I can see through my familiar's eyes, but that I'll be like deaf and blind to my own senses while I do so.
Correct.
So I'm gonna do that and like kind of hold a hand out in case you guys decide to move so somebody can drag me along.
I'm hoping you're going to explain this to us.
do.
Because okay, otherwise we're just going to watch you standing there and be like...
You guys do see just like the faintest flicker of a glow from, oh, hold on a second. My, headphones decided to die. So, yes, I am so good at things. And then I just need to set up this again to capture the headphones. There we go. Okay, we're back online. See, technical difficulties. Gotta have them at Quill and Sword. Here we go. So, Robin, as Masquerade, it almost feels like you fall. And when you fall, it's briefly like you're going underneath a waterfall. There's this intense pressure followed by release. And all of the colors are more vivid, more nuanced. There are things you never thought you could see through these eyes. You never have seen them through your eyes, certainly. Things sound different, mostly of note. You are more attuned to the air, the weather. It tastes different. It smells like there's rain on the horizon. You get the just subtle sense there may be a storm, probably not lightning, but definitely thunder, and high winds. And you are now sensing through Stardust's eyes. You are sensing through their nostrils, their tongue, their ears, all of it. You are muted, Robin. Oh, all of you are muted? Let me double check. I may have messed up a thing, like I do. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Now try.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, because none of us were muted.
Yeah, we all heard each other.
Yeah, it set my default speaker to my microphone for some reason when my headphones died. So, sorry about that. At any rate, so Robin, you were saying?
Gonna fly ahead and see if it bears continuing down this path, more or less.
All right. It is the strangest sensation as you hop, and you flutter and glide on the wind. It's freeing. It's exhilarating, but everything is bigger. It's a little bit scary. As you fly over the stone, you feel like you've been seen. And the rest of you will notice that the carvings in the stone briefly with blue light, and then it dies. And when that happens, you glide for maybe 10 more feet, and once again, sudden rush, like you're falling, waterfall, pressure, and pitch blackness. The smell of old plants, stone, lichen. There's water somewhere in the distance. There's air. The air is a little stale. There's a current. The rest of you watch as the owl glides about 10 feet more past the stone and just vanishes. Pops out of existence.
I'm like trying to explain this as it's happening, but I can't hear myself, so it's funky.
That. So either that's a trap or that was it. I don't know which.
You still sense the power source ahead. This is not the power source.
Okay. You know what I'm starting to wonder, folks? Since that other path we saw, the safe passage path, wasn't veering that far away from the same direction, I'm wondering if that simply would have been the safer way to go to get to the same point, and we've just been very dumb.
You want to backtrack and go check it?
I'm not inclined to test this anymore than we have already.
That seems like a wise idea. I again, out of my depth here. This is not a normal occurrence for me. However, that does sound like a good idea because that's not. Nope, not tonight. No, thank you. Not today, tomorrow, any other time that you can put on a calendar. No, thanks.
No, I'm on the same page with that.
All right, let's pull Mask back.
Masquerade. As Stardust sits there a little bit disoriented, you see a crack of light and it echoes. And you see a giant. Well, a giant to you. About the same size as your new companion and their friends. as you sense your mind melding with oneness with your owl familiar. And you see this tall, probably 6.5, 7 foot tall, lithe figure, just shadowed. You can't really tell much outside of vaguely humanoid. Approaches with bare feet padding softly on the stone floor. And kneels down, and you hear this deep voice say, "Hello, little friend. What are you doing here?"
Owls don't provoke attacks of opportunity when they fly out of an enemy's reach.
No, they don't.
So, at the risk of being followed, or maybe like quite intentionally being followed, I'm actually not entirely sure where my thoughts are ending and where the owls are beginning at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But part of this is saying get away from that, and the other part is thinking we don't really have anything to hide, we're not doing anything bad here, so just gonna try to pull back, gonna try to go back the way we came.
You guys are?
The owl and myself, yes.
Okay, so the owl flits around, and you find that you're in this big column of a room. It's made of stone, it's domed on top, and you notice once you get above, there's a much clearer picture of a very intricately carved circle in the middle of this room. And with your owl's vision, you can now start to make out, as your eyes have adjusted to the lighting, that there is a very lanky but very muscular, fur-clad elf. He has dark purple, nearly black skin, and a beard with beads woven into it, and this long mane of dreadlocks. And his eyes start to glow as though they weren't before. And they flicker and snuff again as he looks up towards you. And with a little more time, you notice that his eyes are actually milked over.
Oh.
So that the light that would be behind them is almost completely suppressed.
So can I softly bap with talons and suggest opening the door wordlessly? I don't know. I don't know how to owl.
The door is already open.
Oh, okay. Well, soft bap and then fly in that direction, making no effort to be quiet. Because you know how quiet barn owls can be when they want to be? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you flit out of there real easily, but his head turns as though he's following where you went. And you see him walk back towards the door, and as you exit, you find yourself in this big open space with columns and statues. There are windows overhead that shine bright light from above. And it's almost like the windows are capturing the moonlight itself and augmenting it, even though the moon is only just now risen. And you see the elf man exit the room, and he grabs a staff that was leaning nearby the door. And he starts just tapping with it as he walks back into the main room. You see there's a bed. You see there is a table with food. But everything is fairly disheveled, unorganized. It's not designed. It's just sort of there to serve a function.
Okay. Gonna find somewhere to perch. And I'm gonna let Mask go. And then I'm gonna be Mask again and have to take a minute because that was real weird.
Okay, so you perch up near one of these dividers of the windows so that you're between two beams of light, and you just kind of chill there. And you are now once again Masquerade in your own senses. Nothing is augmented. The colors have returned to normal, though it's gotten darker outside. The full moon has risen.
So I think there's a residence up there. I'm
And
not
your phone.
actually 100% what I was looking at. I kind of wanted a mouse, like to eat the whole thing, bones and all. There's a lot to unpack with that, but I don't think we'll be in danger if we move ahead and explain what happened. He seemed alright.
I'm confused again.
So, it's your suggestion that we simply walk through the space that seems to sent the owl. You have no idea where, and we just do that and pop in front of whoever and go, "Hi, how you doing? We don't mean to bother you."
Yes.
Okay.
Should we bring a gift?
Just making sure I understood where we were at here.
That might not be a bad idea if we have one on hand, but I know I don't.
Well, maybe just a covered dish, or I don't know, a bottle of wine, perhaps. Or just like visiting somebody. Don't you always have to bring a gift for the host?
Pockets.
No, I don't have anything on me at the moment. I should have taken something from the boat. I apologize.
Inventory here somewhere.
Well,
I can give him one of our rings that we kept. I mean,
Here we go.
I have no use for it.
given that I can cast dancing lights, I could give them the candle that I have in my pack.
Silvered handcuffs! I don't think that's gonna be helpful.
Wait, what?
I mean, depends on your mood and whether or not you're into book bondage.
I don't think the handcuffs would be very helpful for a book, but...
I have some calligrapher's supplies. If maybe we could write a note.
Oh, he's blind.
Oh, that's very insensitive of me. I apologize.
So you didn't know?
Well, just I'm just like looking around, hoping to find, like maybe
start walking.
a cheese and cracker tray hanging from a tree.
If I'm not back in 10 minutes, probably assume I died and go the other way.
There's gotta be a better way.
I can't leave my familiar there. We just met. What kind of a terrible wizard would I be?
Well, do you need some company, I suppose? Do you think it's safe for all of us?
I mean, yeah, you're welcome if you want to come with. I'm just I can't not do this.
Okay, fine. We're doing this for an owl. Fine.
It's better to be on the right hand of an owl than in their way, I always say.
Is that a saying?
No, but it should be, because owls, they swoop and they screech and
They do. They sound very
bones and
scary.
yeah.
I still wonder if the other path still leads us to the same place, just not in bushels of traveled spaces.
Well, Mask has clearly already made up their mind about what they're doing. So, okay. Here's the question. Do we all want to go the same way, or do we want to split and have some of us take the path?
I kind of want to split.
The hilarious thing is, this exact situation is why I took Find Familiar in the first place. It's okay. I didn't expect it to cause more problems than it solved. I kind of apologize, but I'm also kind of not sorry because this is interesting.
Okay. It seems like rather strongly Anu wants to take the path. Obviously, Mask, we know you want to go retrieve your familiar. Nim, you seem to be good with meeting new people.
It's my favorite. I enjoy talking. I like conversations. And you know what? If I can meet somebody new and make friends with an owl by being a good helper, you might as well. It's killing two birds with one stone. I mean, not birds. I'm so sorry, owls.
Okay, Nim.
It's
Just gonna like grab her by the shoulders and steer her up the path.
Yeah, you two go that way. Yeah.
Have fun, chosen one. And then I go.
Wisp, just as you think of a really good comeback, whoop, mask is gone. And so, Nim, you're following Mask, correct? All right, so you disappear as well. Both of you get the sensation almost like you're plunging into incredibly deep water, and just as your ears are about to pop, pressure releases, and you gasp, and you find yourself in darkness. And you see a window slide open. It's stone grating on stone. And you hear a deep voice, a familiar voice to you, Mask, say, "Outsiders are not welcome here."
I was the owl a minute ago. I just came to make sure that he's alright and like maybe get him back. I didn't mean to intrude on your house or anything.
The owl is still here. You are not the owl. You are intruders, and you will die here and feed the earth. And the window slams shut, and you
Or
start...
you could just let the owl out and we can leave.
There's no answer. But you hear this creaking and groaning like stressed wood. And you start to feel what's almost like a spider or something creeping up your foot. And you realize that these woody vines start climbing up you. And we're going to cut to Anu and Wisp. So, Anu and Wisp, you go back and follow the path that Anu found that was marked.
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing, after you round a corner and start climbing this craggy incline that is heavily forested with trees, there's a river off the way. You start to realize that there are statues and ruins if you know where to look. They're just very overgrown and could be mistaken for trees. Statues of marble, statues of wood, and statues, a couple of them, of solid mana. As you continue, you find it's almost like while there is no path, the land itself and how the plants grow, how it weaves, guides you where you need to go. You continue climbing the incline for a while before you find yourself overlooking what looks like an entire city, or what is left of a city that you don't know how you missed it, but it's here. There are columns, there are buildings, they're crumbling, but there are buildings. There are tall spires with domed roofs. There are statues that stretch to the skies. And you realize the stone you've been climbing is in fact a statue of an elven woman holding a vessel, and the vessel is pouring a waterfall. The waterfall is leading to a lake that exists just outside this city. The walls are actually surprisingly sparse, and the whole city seems open, guarded only by nature.
So no signs of occupation, people?
Not that you see.
So, first of all, to be sure I'm not metagaming, Mask was describing what Stardust was seeing as she's... Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what Mask was describing from the owl was like a column with a domed roof. So those spires that you mentioned, Stephen, did those look like generally that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay. How many of them are there?
There are a few dotted around, maybe like a dozen, but there is a cluster in what looks like a huge castle, maybe a temple. You're not sure. It's elven architecture, and fawns aren't super familiar with it. Anu, even you, depending on your background, you may or may not recognize what this is. It depends on if you grew up around your own kind or not. But you do see, actually, give me a perception roll, and Anu, you have advantage.
So are we both doing this roll?
Yep.
Oh, God!
Yeah.
That's a nat 1.
Okay.
All right, I got a 16.
16. Anu, you see a silver white wolf staring at you directly with this uncanny awareness in its eyes. These vivid green eyes. You see swirls of black fur make elaborate patterns that look almost like knotted elven carvings along its body. It starts to approach you. Wisp, you notice when the wolf, which is actually about 5 feet tall, standing on all fours, is now directly in front of you. It's a dire wolf.
Ah! Hi!
Puppy.
The wolf
I love you to pieces.
The wolf sort of touches your torso, Anu, just presses its long face with its forehead against you, and then turns around, its tail swishing, and leaps down the statue, showing you these platforms where you can land.
Yes. Follow me, Wisp.
Okay.
Into the thick of it.
Oh, God.
I need an acrobatics check from both of you.
Ooh. 22.
22. All right, so Wisp, you nimbly and deftly dance and jump and leap your way down. Describe how you do it.
So it's gonna be long jumps that almost feel like it almost has a sense that I'm floating. Like I should be landing about a half second sooner than I actually do. So trying to actually follow me going from point to point is almost a little bit difficult. And on the very last one, I'm just going to do a front flip to land.
Okay.
I got an 11.
11. You're more just doing functional leaps and bounds. The wolf showed you the way. You're safe, but it's not nearly as flashy as Wisp's.
Of course not.
And the wolf starts walking toward the city. Whether you follow or not, it keeps going. It doesn't stop and wait for you.
I'm following.
Yep.
Okay. So you guys follow this wolf, and it walks you through this city. And now that you're inside the city, you see them. Glowing eyes peering out from crevices, windows, shelters. You never would have seen them if you weren't here directly among them. Colors of green, blue, purple, pink, even some orange. You see shadowed figures, which look like elves. You recognize they must be elves with their very long ears and their 6 foot tall plus heights. These are wood elves.
Anu, are we gonna be in trouble or are we gonna be welcome here?
I'll totally until you're invited to the feast.
Okay. Great.
You see these grand statues that, while in ruin, they seem proud. Like, despite the wear of time, the wear of violence and perhaps whatever else managed to claim these, they stand still there, more beaten and bruised for the wear, but still very pointedly and unashamedly there. Among the trees, among the waters, just part of the land itself. These white stone statues, these wooden arches, everything. And the wolf leads you up to the castle. You start seeing inscriptions. You see images of the moon in its different cycles and iterations, all of them being held by an elven woman. When at the top of the stairs, when the wolf reaches it, it sits, and you see almost what looks like ashy smoke start pouring in wafting breezes off of the wolf. And there sits a cross-legged elven woman wearing a shawl of wolf fur that just barely covers her top, but then a very long dress, a skirt rather, that's made of wolf fur. And she has bare feet. And these tattoos you can see that are swirling and match the wolf swirling patterns are black against her pink skin. And she has this white sheen of hair.
All right, first of all, love the aesthetic. This look, absolutely amazing. You own the hell out of this.
Thank you.
So, we're not 100% sure why we were kind of drawn here. I am a little bit concerned that a couple of friends of ours might be somewhere in there with an owl. I'm less worried about the owl, if I'm going to be completely honest, but I can't tell them that because I'll get nasty looks. Don't suppose we're allowed in?
I brought you here, didn't I?
You did. Much appreciated.
She stands, and you see that this skirt actually drags behind her a little bit. It's so long. And she approaches anew. Sister, you dress like them.
It's easier to blend in.
I suppose, but... And she just sort of like, without any sort of boundaries, grabs onto different flaps and folds and just looks at it curiously and then just puts it back.
Yeah. It's easy to sneak in and cause some mischief to the uppers who most likely, and I gesture around to the place, played some part in keeping this beautiful city the way it is.
It is beautiful. In spite of the things that have happened here. It stays strong. It stays true. And the magic remains. One of the few places that it does.
So about our friends.
You need to see Eliath. That's why I brought you here. He's within the temple.
Okay.
You may go in.
Do we need directions, or is it basically a straight shot?
The plants will guide you.
Oh. How polite of them.
So you guys walk up to these doorways, and there's these massive stone doors that you see. They together form a picture once again of this woman, but she's now holding a full moon. And you hear this creaking and stone grinding on stone as you see vines growing up through the crevices, forcing the doors open and then receding. And the doors are open just wide enough that you can fit through.
This is nice. This is overgrown chic. I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Meanwhile, getting back to Mask and Nim, I need to know how you guys are responding to these woody vines creeping up you and wrapping around your legs.
So, like, if this guy isn't gonna answer us or anything, I'm gonna firebolt it. Like, I don't have to let your tree eat me.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an attack roll.
15.
15, you hit. It's not hard to hit. You ignite a portion of the vines.
In damage.
You
when in doubt,
actually
set it on fire.
You clear a section of the wall, and there's charred remains, and the plants start growing to cover it up, as you see that it was covering a window. A window that you as a player recognize was made of some sort of glass, but you've never really seen windows made of glass outside of very wealthy homes, certainly not among the elves. And
I mean, that's cool. If they know how to blow glass, more power to them. I'm a little bit more concerned with, like, making sure that I/Nim are not being entangled.
okay. And go ahead and make a strength saving throw.
I gotta, like, find my saves.
Do I need to do one too?
Dirty 20.
Maybe. We'll see. Dirty 20. So you see that these vines, as soon as you cast this fire, these new vines lash out quickly, almost like snakes with how fast they are, and wrap your arm and try to drag it down, and you just tear free. And the vines wrapping around you become more aggressive and intense. Nim, currently, it's just wrapped around your ankle and chilling there.
So I just look down at it and just kind of concerned. So I'm just looking down and I'm trying to talk to it because I've heard that maybe talking to plants is a good idea.
Okay.
Well, hey there, little friend. I know that you're very protective of who I'm going to assume is your father figure. If that's not too awkward, please tell me if that's just I'm assuming too much. I really appreciate how you are protecting this person, and it really shows me that you care. But I just want to say, I think that perhaps this is unnecessary. This is all a big misunderstanding. I do apologize for my friend and their Bernie bits and whatnot.
He literally told us to die.
Well, yes, but we can figure this out. Everything can be talked through.
Yeah, I'm sure that was just a mistranslation.
I mean, you never know. That's just kind of where I ended.
Okay. You don't have to make a strength saving throw. The vines don't seem to be any more aggressive to you. It's just sort of steadily chilling there, maybe creeping a little every couple seconds. Mask, what are you doing?
Continuing to fight like a cornered animal. I'm gonna fucking flurry of blows. I will punch the
Okay,
like
go for it.
Having it.
Where are you punching specifically? Does it matter?
Just wherever it's touching me. Like, I will take some damage myself to get this shit done.
Okay, go ahead and make several attack rolls. Make 2 rounds worth of attack rolls.
Cool. That's 12. 21. 8. Am I acting as though I'm doing flurry of blows for both rounds or just the one?
It's up to you.
Okay, cool. I will burn 2 ki to do this. I do not care. 10. 21. 8 again.
You manage to free yourself and Nim completely from the vines, and you are now in the middle of the circle. Free, though the vines are continuing to creep towards the circle again. You've torn them out, you've torn them up, and you've delayed whatever they were doing. You hear a voice as the sliding panel opens again. It's useless. Everyone eventually dies and feeds the earth. And intruders deserve no less. They can be no more useful.
Dude, I just came here to make sure the owl got out okay.
I'm going to tap Mask on the shoulder and say, just a moment, please. Excuse me, sir. I understand that this is just a big issue, and I'm sorry that we came here unannounced and uninvited. But it is, as my friend said, their lovely owl, Starlight, a new addition to the crew. But we haven't had said addition for very long, and well, we just came to find Starlight and to make sure that they were okay. And then we'll be on our way. And while I do agree that functionally everything we do is just a momentary diversion on the way to the grave, we can't avoid this anymore. But maybe we could put off our death and feed the earth, for a while, because we do have a couple of things left to do. And I just keep going on and on and on.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm just standing here ready to smack the vines when they come closer.
Mask, make an animal handling check.
Skills. 8.
8. All right. So you just kind of are chilling there. It's not a super difficult roll to make. Your owl flits into the little doorway and just kind of sits there and looks at you and tilts its head.
Hey, buddy. You all right?
And it hops down and peck, peck, peck. And then hop, hop, hop. Peck, peck. Hop, hop, hop. Peck. And just kind of keeps approaching you slowly.
All right, be careful. We're sort of in the line of fire and you're squishy.
He's right on top of the vines, in fact. Just hopping from vine to vine, chilling.
As long as they're leaving him alone.
They seem to be leaving him alone. So the owl is your friend.
Hey, that's what I said.
Wouldn't be the first time, or even the second, 10th, 20th, or beyond, that an outsider has lied to me. So forgive me if I don't trust you right away.
Oh, that's fine. But not trusting me and trying to kill me, two very different things.
He doesn't open the door. You have to understand, I am the protector of this place. It is mine. The people are mine.
Yeah, believe it or not, I get that. I've got people in my charge too, and I wouldn't take very kindly to anybody blustering over them either. But I don't mean to stay, and I don't mean to cause you any trouble. I just came for Stardust.
You don't know where you are?
No.
Right now you're in the heart chamber, though the full moon hasn't come to her crest yet. So, you're not in danger for a couple hours at least of everything opening and feeding the earth.
Fantastic. I don't suppose you can just let us back out the way we came, because I don't know where we are, what this place is for, and I don't have any reason to say anything to anyone about it.
And I don't have any reason to open this door. Give me one.
Okay. What would you want?
I want to know how you're more useful to the world, alive than dead.
Well, I don't know about the world in general, but I do know that there's one little girl in particular that we're trying to save right now. And I will reach up, and I got, when I took a level in a wizard, several cantrips, and one of them is in Code Thoughts. I'm gonna like give him memories of Giselle and just show him what I'm talking about.
Okay. Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Am I even good at persuasion? 15.
You're a mage.
Yeah.
And you speak the truth. You care about life.
Yeah.
And you see him wait for several seconds into a few minutes. And then finally, he breaks the silence if you remain silent.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything, I'm just watching. Like, I'm watching these vines like I don't trust them because I don't.
Cyrilun's light teaches us that all life is connected. We all live together. We all are together. Even the separation of the elves' lives is really an illusion. You cannot control that you were born humans, no more than I can control being an elf. And your hearts do seem pure, after a fashion. And the plants start receding.
Yeah, this doesn't really seem like a wise time to correct him, so I don't.
Meanwhile, Anu and Wisp, you guys start walking into this massively overgrown temple. You see there are waterfalls and fountains here. You're not sure where they're fed from, but there is like actual plumbing in this place. There are plants, trees even, bushes all over. All of it cast in an eerie purple-blue light. Everything has a sort of blue tinge, as though it's being fed by this crystal blue water that's pouring into these fountains.
So, question.
Uh-huh.
Am I getting the sense that we are like right on top of the source of whatever I was feeling before, or like is it no real closer, and like where am I at with that?
You're nearing it.
Okay, so
but
like
you're very close.
Immediate vicinity. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool.
You anytime you approach a passageway that apparently you aren't supposed to go down, the plants grow over it to block it. And when you step away, they rescind. And you both find your way to what seems to be some sort of sanctuary. There's a table, there's a bed. Everything is sort of haphazardly strewn about this moss-carpeted room. There is a little pool off to the side with a trickling waterfall pouring into it. There's steam coming off of the foggy blue waters. And you hear a familiar voice speaking with a much deeper voice to your right, where you see a 7-foot-tall elf with this blue-black hair in dreadlocks, standing at a barred window speaking with who you seem to think, based on their sound, would be Mask.
Oh, what's his name again?
Eliath.
Excuse me, Brother Eliath. I have a question.
He turns. You are a sister.
Oh, right, you can't see that.
Actually, I can.
Oh. Yes, I am a sister, friend, and you seem to be talking to some other friends of mine. Is there a problem that I could help with to assure you that they mean no harm?
No longer. And the door opens. And you guys can now all come into this room where you see these huge windows overhead are feeding moonlight, almost like sunlight, into this room. And it's all starting to converge on a gemstone above the threshold that the two of you, Anu and Wisp, just walked through.
Okay. I
I
don't
love
suppose
this
that
place.
gem would be the source of what I'm picking up by any chance.
It is not.
It is not.
Your source of power is coming from the room that that Mask and Nim are walking out of.
So low-key checking to make sure those two didn't get hurt, because we walked in on hard mode and I don't know what happened with them.
You two okay?
Hi.
Like, checking for bruises and like the damage was minimal.
Oh. Alright, we had a fairly gentle entry.
We went down a waterfall.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Did you get tickled by the tree? Or was that just us?
No, I think that you are the only ones who got that treatment. So what else was in that room you just stepped out of? Because I think whatever I'm picking up is in there.
Didn't he call it the heart chamber? Is that what he said, Mask?
Yes, I think so.
There's a heart, I suppose.
Also, I have a key point left if it would be appropriate to heal the tree.
You certainly can.
Okay,
And
cool. Hands of healing, let's go.
when you look back into the room, now that the room is flooded with light, you see corpses woven into the walls all the way up to the domed ceiling.
Cool. Gonna heal the tree anyway.
Overgrown with moss and leaves, there are vines coming out of the mouths, the ears, the eyes, the nose, even fingertips. It's like all of these corpses have been grafted into these plants.
It's like necrobotany. That's really cool.
I'm sure they deserved it.
That was me out of character saying that's really cool. Mask is probably horrified.
Yeah.
But
Does Anu say that?
Yes.
They were outsiders. Of course they deserved it.
thanks.
Hey, no offense. You're cool. You're cool. You just went the wrong way. That's all.
Okay.
It's coming. The time is coming. You may stay and observe the glory, if you wish.
Is it safe?
Out here, yes.
Cool.
The glory the glory of what or whom?
My question's exactly, glory? Now, is that a real glory? Will we perceive it as glory the same way you do?
Elunid, our goddess.
Okay. Hang on. So I've got +4 in religion. Do you want me to roll on that to see if I have any clue what he's talking about?
Sure, go for it.
That's a 19.
Okay.
Nice. Oh,
Elunid is followed by not only wood elves, but also druids. She is an elven originally, goddess of the moon. She is also the goddess of much of life. She teaches that all life is inherently connected and the forms we take are an illusion. Our separation is an illusion. We are all one life. And when we die, that life is merely turned into new life. For elves who are her chosen children, their lives turn into new elven lives, and they keep their lives. but for everyone else, their lives feed her earth.
So, I am going to ask this of Eliath. So, would her glory manifesting involve the recycling of anybody here present?
Only those who are long since gone and have begun the digestion process. You see these beams just sort of start to ignite this subtle thrumming of red light from this once blue gem coming from that doorway as the beams start to converge more. And you start feeling a rumble beneath your feet as the plants in that room start to almost pour like a waterfall with the corpses intertwined, and the floor itself starts to pull back in this spiral petal pattern and withdraw so that everything inside falls. Your owl flits out and away and perches on your shoulder mask.
Comforting little scritches.
And
that I'm quite sure you don't need.
And Masquerade, because you are right there at the doorway, you can see that the vines and everything are feeding into this pit of what you would swear looked like fleshy mass with rows of teeth all the way down it, except these teeth are thorns, and the flesh is blackish green, and it starts wobbling and waving and thrumming as the thorns gnash and start gnashing the corpses as they fall in.
I'm watching this absolutely fascinated because I have never seen like plants devouring meat like this before, and I think that's really interesting, even if they are humanoid.
And after several minutes, you realize this is a process. It's not something that just happens quickly and is done.
Like eating a meal. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I have been many things, you know, so like my point of view on like how flesh works is probably a little bit skewed in the first place. So yeah, I'm like, it's like watching somebody eat lunch, and this is just really interesting to me.
I'm taking back however many steps I feel like I can without attracting attention.
Okay, it's probably like 12.
I'm not trying to exit. I just like distance. Distance is nice. I like distance.
Anu, you see Eliath put his hand against the mossy wall, and his fingers start to transmute into wood as they grow into these long root-like vines that branch out underneath the moss. And his eyes actually shine as opposed to the suppressed dimness. And he breathes, and you see that his muscles tone and define and get bigger. And his hair that was blue-black shifts to a vivider blue. And he just looks like a buffer, younger version of himself now.
That's cheating.
And after about an hour, the quaking subsides, the floor returns, the moonlight crisscrosses and is no longer converging on the gem. It turns to blue once more. And Eliath turns to you with his stick in hand and starts kind of tapping to navigate his way to you. And then you see the moss just sort of... And when it does, there are these spores that fill the air surrounding Anu. And they just trickle down, sparkling vaguely, and Elias smiles. You're young, sister. How many lifetimes have you had?
A fair few.
Fewer than I, certainly.
A little bit. Definitely, but it just seems like you're enjoying this life a lot more.
I am. Elunid provides me with extended life in exchange for my service. When she feeds, I feed. I do not need to eat, to sleep outside of when she feeds me.
Quite the deal you got there.
Indeed. You know you are welcome to stay with us. Forever.
Oh, that's a long time.
You could live your many lifetimes here. Among the druids, we could teach you our ways. I smell magic on you already.
Just a little bit. I take you up on that offer, but I'm needed elsewhere at the moment.
He turns to Wisp, pointedly, almost as though he sees you, and strides toward you, almost uncomfortably close. Bends down and... I smell much magic on you.
Haven't had a chance to have a shower in a little bit, so apologies on that. Goliath, do you sense past lives only in other elves or in anyone?
Why do you ask?
I had an experience the other day, which I did not enjoy, and seemed to imply experiences from a life that isn't mine.
I see. Well, I can certainly try. And he will usher you to a chair. You may want to be sitting for this.
I'll sit down out of sheer nerves. Before I sit in the chair, I'm just gonna kind of tap out and just sit and settle in.
Can I answer with the ensuing 2 bits? All right.
Thank you.
He approaches and he leans down towards you, but not uncomfortably close this time, and says, "Are you sure you want to do this? It may hurt."
I am not sure in the slightest. Just do it.
Very well. And you feel him dig his fingers into the back of your neck, and then you feel like 5 needles all pierce, and you start feeling something creep up the back of your neck and grab onto your skull, and it starts creeping down over your nose. You guys see that something is going underneath Wisp's skin, and he's digging his root fingers in there. And it almost makes you feel like you got to vomit, Wisp. Make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no.
Hang on. That is a 10.
A 10. You spew chunks on the table. And
Gonna prestidigitate that up.
you find yourself in the middle of a starry night, but you're standing on the starry night. There's nowhere to stand, and there are only stars and blackness around you. And in your periphery, you sense someone or something move. And you turn to see what's almost like a veritable army behind you of individuals, all dressed differently, all different genders, different races, all of them with their eyes shimmering with this shifting opalescent rainbow light. And they all cry out with one accord, almost like a war cry, and this light gushes from their orifices, forming into a bird that soars over them and plunges into you, and you feel hot and you feel cold, and it's so painful it almost feels amazing, and it's sickening and invigorating, and this wash of emotions and physical sensations pours into you, and you can't breathe. The rest of you see Wisp suddenly just stiffen and their eyes facing skyward as this moonlight that was beaming towards the door actually bends and travels inside their eyes. And it starts shifting colors, and it glitters, and it sparkles, and it's almost too bright to look at. And Wisp, you are lying on a moss-covered floor. The rest of you, it's been 2 hours, and Wisp has been out. During that 2 hours, would any of you have chosen to do anything in particular?
Clean the vomit up and sit vigil.
Okay.
Yeah. I sit on the other side, just making sure everything's okay.
I'm exploring the temple.
Okay. So, Nim, as you're sitting vigil waiting on Wisp to awaken, Eliath approaches you and sits down. Is it sad? Being without magic.
Oh, well, I've never really thought about it. It just is. It's happy, it's sad, it's all the things. Who's to say what is, I suppose. I would be happier with it, but I wouldn't know.
You've never known it, have you?
I mean, I've seen it.
But you've never known it. That's the difference. Those who are born without sight have never known it. But I had it once. When I was a boy. And I had to learn how to see without sight, with my magic. And I can't fathom being without magic. Does it upset you to know you can't reach into the air? You can't pluck the light. You can't see the strands. You can't smell the glory that is magic.
This is another one of those things that I've never really thought about. You have given me so many things to think about. It does seem like it's a great addition to your life. But, we all have our purposes. We all have, where we belong, the roles we have to play. And, at the end of the day, if everybody's special, then is anyone special? So, enjoy the magic because that makes you special.
Your heart is so pure. How do you not have it? I don't know. How do you not have it when others who would use it for ill manipulate it freely? I suppose life truly isn't fair. The herbivore and the carnivore do not get to choose their fate, merely that they are. How interesting. Anu, give me an investigation check.
Ah, 17.
17. Okay, so you find that these passages that once closed themselves off to you allow you in now when you're by yourself. And you find a great many things. You find a wing that is full of what would almost look like catacombs, except they're clearly made out to be beds. You find a room with a pool that is not a hot spring. It's cool, crystal blue water. But the room that you find that probably would catch your fancy the most, it certainly is the strangest out of them, is a room which you enter, and the domed ceiling has carvings of the entire night sky with lines drawn among the stars.
Oh, this is awesome.
And as you enter, the stars flicker, the light coming from the moss itself in this area as it's glowing dims, and the stars illuminate with blue. And one in particular, one constellation that your eye is drawn to, catches your eye as it's glowing with the same blue as your eyes. Back in the chamber, Wisp awakens. Masquerade, your owl pecks your shoulder. Nim, Eliath rushes to the side of Wisp. What happened?
I fucking hate this. Can we just start with that? This whole thing is bullshit. I don't know where it was. It's like I was nowhere and I was everywhere, and all these people, all kinds, and so many, and too many to count. And there was a bird. It was light, and it was fire, and it was cold, and it was me, and it was something else. And did I mention I fucking hate this? Because I do. I don't like this.
And that's where we're going to cut it for tonight. So, yeah, you guys are currently in a ruined elvish city of some sort. You have met a person. We won't say a friend or an enemy, because maybe you haven't even decided yet. But you have at least made one new friend in the owl.
He literally tried to kill us, and I still like him, and I hate that.
Hey, that's the thing about dark fantasy. Gray morality, you know? Some people are good, some people are bad, but everybody's kind of both. And thank you, everybody, for joining us and letting us tell this story together with you. And until next time, whether it's on the page or at the table, you tell your story your way. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.